small crimes as well as the big crimes. You deal with the quality of life issues, and you make this city a better place to live in. Do you think there's
Oh, got my hat on. Big game tonight. Tim, don't be at K-side. We're playing Dallas tonight. What they did to us last year. Hopefully we'll get back at them tonight. So Ann got in first. Hey, did Tim. And Michelle just told me that she's gotten better and she's going to pin some stuff, the Cash App and everything in there, KO, to help you out a little bit, I think. I just sent her the stuff, so hopefully you can stay up so we don't have to do it every show. Shout out to Deplorable Chicken Head. Thanks for the message. It was 9 days ago. I hope you stopped in so I can get a hold of you. Love y'all. Yeah, she's gonna pop in and say hi, I think. Listen, I thought you were working. Don't get in trouble. All right. So, did you get to listen to the first show this morning on the big breaking news? Yep, happy Thursday, Daniel. We got a lot. I'm going to go all the way up till 8 o'clock because there's a lot of news out, and I'm going to be up late watching my team play tonight against Kay's Dallas team. So I'm also going to stay all the way up to 8. So we got a lot of. I got a 30-minute one press conference with Pam Bondi and the judge there. But first one we're gonna play is the Benny show, the Benny video from this morning. I can't believe this Billy Bean's not out yet with the bomber. Okay. Carol, I think, is at the doctor's, I think. I think she said she was going to be busy today, I think. Starfire's not in yet. Oh, shoot, too late.
So if you want to sit at the casino at home and play some off.
I think we just missed Melania and Trump on Christmas tree lighting. So I'm going to go ahead and get started because we got a lot of news to get out again. So I'm gonna log in to Telegram.
PF Black Card for $1 down and $24.99 a month. Deal ends Friday, December 5th.
Yep, he has two of them. We got to play with the Bomber and Kansas Owen. Ten minutes.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Virginia man arrested for January 6th pipe bombing that saw explosives planted on Capitol Hill on the eve of notorious riot. Let's read through this Daily Mail article, and then ALX, who has been locked into the story all morning, and I'm thankful for that. My wife is now really down bad with the flu, so I had all the kids this morning. Yeah, it's not pretty when I have to make all the kids breakfast, but we made it happen. We made it work. Okay. We made it work. Lots of blueberries wound up in the scrambled eggs. Let's just say ALX. If we missed anything here, or if there's anything new from this article, please let me know in the chat, but I'm going to read from the top line. Let's go. FBI arrested a Virginia anarchist. Oh boy. Okay. Well, that's going to be a little problem for me right off the top there. You know, this is exactly what they tried to say about Thomas Crooks, right? Oh, they don't have any political opinion. They have no political ideology. That's an immediate red flag for me. But we're going to approach this with an open mind. Let's read. Suspect named Brian Cole in connection with several pipe bombs laid near the U.S. Capitol. So now we have a name. Brian Cole. January 6th, 2021 riots. Cole was identified as the suspect on Thursday morning. Sources told MSN Now. It used to be MSNBC. And the single stupidest rebranding in history, nonetheless. MS Now. Brian Cole has been linked to support for anarchist ideologies. The suspect was charged with laying explosives outside of the DNC and RNC headquarters, which did not detonate. Well, because they were on 60-minute timers and they were set to detonate right before the rally at the Capitol. How the hell is that even possible? Of course, it is not. Still seems really mysterious here. But nonetheless, we're going to work through it, and we're going to, again, talk to all the best experts on this issue in moments. The arrest marks the first major breakthrough in a 5-year investigation that had baffled the agency and sparked a wave of conspiracy theories. It comes after weeks, the FBI offering $500,000 reward and lead to identification of the suspect. Authorities shared previously unreleased footage of the perpetrator stalking the streets of Washington, D.C. the night before the infamous riots. However, the arrest was reportedly not the result of new breakthrough in the investigation. Here we go. Get ready. Here we go. It came after the FBI reviewed existing evidence from 2021. They had this son of a bitch For 5
Welcome. This is your
years.
first time in here.
They knew who this guy was.
You're waiting to go skating, spinning reels before your turn.
Read it again. This came after the FBI reviewed existing evidence it had collected in 2021 and 2022. Law enforcement sources said that the arrest may cause embarrassment for the FBI because the suspect was literally right under their nose the whole time. Could have been arrested years ago if the investigators had simply pieced together the evidence they literally had in their hands. But no, they refused. Why? Why? This is I mean, listen. As we have said 100,000 times on this show, this is the only terrorist on January 6th. Nobody else is a terrorist. Some people behaved rowdy, like a bar fight. Most people just peacefully wandered the hallways, the vast majority of them. Some people rioted. And my suspicion is that the actual rioters, and I have proof of this, were anarchists, were Antifa members, were BLM activists. You can go into the federal filings and find that BLM and anarchists were wearing MAGA. They were LARPing as MAGA that day in order to cause problems, in order to be troublemakers. Some of the heaviest fines, because some of the most violent behavior went to BLM activists and anarchists that had infiltrated, and Antifa members that had infiltrated the MAGA crowd that day in order to cause problems. We know this as a matter of fact, and federal filings and prosecutions and sentencing. There's only one terrorist. This guy. This guy, I think we can all agree, left, right, center, can be classified as a terrorist. No, you shouldn't place, these are what the items look like, bomb-looking devices, and I think there's a lot of question about whether these were actually operable bombs. But no, you shouldn't place these things outside the RNC and DNC. Everyone agrees with that. Oh boy, you really hit him. Shucks, man. Boy, you really got us. Look at how hard he hid those things. Real tough, just right there next to the giant dog-sized rat trap in DC, because the rats are so gigantic in Washington. Oh, it's awful. Yeah, great metaphor. That's exactly right. Between a trash can and a rat trap, there goes the bomb. So wait a second. The FBI could have found this guy in 2021 and put this all to rest. Let's read. In surveillance footage from the plot, video showed the hooded suspect setting down a backpack, South Capitol Street, putting on some glasses, scanning their surroundings for witnesses and walking off. The suspect then walked to the nearby DNC headquarters where a bomb was placed at 7:45 p.m. There's a lot of controversy about this timeline. We'll get into it with Julie Kelly. Surveillance then showed the suspect walking into the RNC headquarters and placing the bomb at 8:16 p.m. Last seen on video 2 minutes later, leaving investigators baffled over their true identity. The suspect wore a face mask, glasses, gray hooded sweatshirt, gloves, black and gray Nike Air Max, speed turf shoes with a yellow logo. The explosive devices planted outside of the two buildings in Capitol Hill neighborhood were located the next day, just hours before the Donald Trump supporters descended on the Capitol. U.S. Capitol Police agents and the FBI and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms were first called at 12:45 p.m. The perfect time. The perfect time, because that was exactly when the first breach happened. You know, the fence cutter guy, the scaffolding commander, the guy that built the gallows, all these unnamed, masked, MAGA supporters. Right, got it. Still don't know who they are. Ray Epps telling everybody to go inside the Capitol. We must go inside the Capitol. And these bombs were found precisely when they needed to be found in order to draw forces away from the U.S. Capitol building. Benny, you're insane. How do you know this? Well, because the U.S. Capitol Police Chief, who will be joining us in just a moment, Stephen Sund, has told us this. He was there that day. He was in charge that day. and he's very suspicious about the timing here. After 30 minutes, the agents and the bomb technicians were still investigating the RNC. Another call came in for an explosive found at the DNC. The bombs were rendered safe, and no one was hurt. Let's just finish off this article, please. Officials said the homemade bombs were constructed out of threaded galvanized pipes, kitchen timers, and homemade black powder. The pipe bomb plot spawned numerous conspiracy theories, and the case remained unsolved for years, including last month. Conservative social media commentators falsely claimed the FBI had a Capitol police officer as a suspect. The claim, this is speaking about the Blaze report, the claim said that the female police officer was identified using gait analysis, and the former officer's attorney said the accusations were reckless, false, absurd, and defamatory. While the arrest could cause embarrassment for investigators who failed to identify the suspect for years, it is likely to be lauded by the Trump White House after it poured new resources into the actual case. FBI Director Dan Bongino, who just posted "God Bless America" and those who serve her, spoke of his desire to solve the case, including previously speculating it may have been an inside job. The hunt for the suspect was one of the largest in FBI history. This included subpoenaing box store retailers, credit card data, final customers, obviously the phone records. The only phone records that were destroyed that day were the phone records of the pipe bomber. Got it. Agents tracked down purchasers of the battery connectors to whose phones were located near the DNC and RNC headquarters at the time the bomb were planted, but the FBI found no credible match. So how do they find this guy? What evidence have they had for years to find this individual? Tick, 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 tick. Oh.
So that was the big news of the day. I'm going to play the second one now so I can get out two of his videos and two of all the rest of them.
Power saver device that could cut my
15. Corey.
What's up, guys? Benny. Talking to each other is a good thing. The aftermath of Candace Owens and her breakup, very ugly decoupling and divorce from the Daily Wire, she offered to debate Ben Shapiro about why she left the company or why her contract was canceled. And this was something that obviously went way thermonuclear, was laundered into the public. The two of them were going back and forth with each other. Big debate about whether Christ is king, and so on and so forth online. Christ, of course, is king. And I think there's so much that story that we will never know because of NDAs, because of lawsuits, and also because right when the debate was allegedly supposed to happen between Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens, Candace Owens was hit with a gag order from a judge. She wasn't allowed to talk about any of it. And that was that. I think that's a shame because I believe that it would have been really good for both sides to hear their opinions and to hear their worldviews sort of crystallized there. It's something magical happens when you're in a room with somebody one-on-one. When you're in person, you end up seeing the other person as a lot more human, and so often a very good thing. I'm pro people talking. I am pro more conversation, not less, more debate, not less, and more people hashing out their ideas. They don't have to agree on everything. They often won't, but it'll be good for everyone to see that at the very least, we can have a pressure release valve, right? In that scenario, we didn't get it. Instead, we got more lawsuits and more litigious, and that's a shame. Because I think it would have been good for Shapiro and for Candace for that to have happened. Anyway, that's ancient history. It was happening about 16 months ago. That was going down last summer. And so now, fast forward to today, Candace Owens is sparring, obviously, with Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's team, and has taken advantage of the public's desire to learn more about how Charlie Kirk was murdered on a live stream in the most horrific way possible, and obviously left a lot of people wanting because there's just not been a ton of evidence that's been put out there. And even independent reporters from corporate media outlets, journalists there in Utah have said that they can't get anything. They can't get the security footage. They can't get the police recordings. They can't get anything. And the judge has ruled and might rule banning all cameras from the courthouse in what would be the biggest insult to the American public. And I'm enraged about it. I'm doing everything I possibly can to make sure that doesn't happen because we deserve to know. But Candace, I think it's taken advantage of the rightful longing for people that loved Charlie, worked with Charlie, myself included. I wasn't there. I'm not part of his show. I'm not part of his company. I worked with him, Turning Point for the last nearly decade. I love that guy. But I want to know, I want to see all of the evidence. Anyway, these are natural and important instincts to have. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you can't make unfounded claims or allegations against people. You have to be able to back up what you're saying, especially if it's causing an enormous amount of damage. And what Candace Owens did this week, which started a sort of cascade of events now, is put out this post. It's been seen by 15 million people. Here's what it says. I received information, final pieces together for me. I can say with full confidence that Charlie Kirk was betrayed by the leadership at Turning Point USA, some very powerful people who eulogized him on stage. Yes, I will be naming names and providing evidence for my claims, and I'll be making a personal plea to every well-meaning person who donated to this godforsaken organization to request a refund. You were all lied to and leadership knew. So, this was sent on December 2nd, 72 hours ago, and, it is obviously quite the allegation that the people who were running Charlie Kirk's organization had him killed. Hot damn.
Oh, sorry to hear that, Lori.
Is there any evidence of that? What do we got? Well, what we got yesterday was a challenge from Turning Point to Candace to defend this and a number of other statements that she has made about the murder of Charlie Kirk. This came from Blake Neff, who was a writer for Charlie. He's a writer and a producer, and he worked also previously for Tucker Carlson. The concentric circles are getting tight here. And Blake said on Charlie Kirk's show, here are all the theories or lies that you've told about us. We are going to set the record straight on every single one of them. We're going to do it live on our show. Everyone's going to be able to watch and see it. And Candace, you're invited to join us in person. Followed up by this, the live stream we announced on the show has been set at 4 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. local time on Monday, December 15th. A collection of Charlie's friends will respond to statements from Candace Owens to set the record straight once and for all prior to the opening of America Fest, the big Turning Point conference. We'll be live streaming it from Charlie's studio. The offer from yesterday holds. If Candace wishes to join us in person in Phoenix, she's welcome to do so. She can let us know by the end of the day. So this is what Blake has put out this morning on behalf of Charlie's team. Candace accepted last night.
Has had enough with the non-response, trying to move on, trying to gaslight us on answering basic details. So we just went for it. And guess what? Turning Point has moved to formally respond to all the things that we have said. And after a very long diatribe in which they wildly misrepresent the public and global investigation of Charlie Kirk's assassination, they at long last issued a public invitation or a challenge. I'm not sure what it is, but I accept. Okay. Quite literally, all we have ever asked for were sensible answers to our basic questions about what transpired on September 10th. And it looks like we're going to get those things. So major win. I am excited.
Well, everybody on the internet said, holy smokes, we're going to get this. Now, I know all the parties involved here. I've been on Candace's show, worked with Candace for a long time. I worked with Charlie for a long time. I wasn't a part of any of their businesses, which is like, it's just a small group.
Every minute.
So let me tell you this honestly, without trying to get into any of the one detail or another. I wasn't there on that day. I saw the same things you did. I have the same access to information that you do. I'm frustrated with the amount of access that I have and the questions that I still remain about Charlie's death. I'm angry about it. I'm frustrated about it. But also, there are a lot of people who deserve to have their names cleared that are part of Charlie's team. And the best way to do that is to just like freaking clear your name. And so this needs to happen. The same way that like the Candace accusing Ben Shapiro of this, Ben Shapiro accusing Candace of that, tit for tat. It's like, who can be the biggest victim? Let's have it out. Everybody say it on stage. Say it live. Let the facts speak for themselves. That's why this is critically important. People were celebrating this. Now, there it is. Candace Owens officially accepted Turning Point Challenge to debate. The game is on. The truth will be heard around the world. Okay, good. I mean, I think like everyone should be in favor of this. Candace Owens posting, Turning Point throws down the gauntlet. They're ready for to just answer the questions about 9/10. That's the date that Charlie was killed. And they are calling me out. Let's go. Okay, so everyone seems excited to do this. Like, this will be a really, really good thing. Candace Owens, multiple times on her show, accepted the invitation for a face-to-face sit-down to confront the allegations against them. Yay, I will accept it with whistles and bells. I fully accept. I say let's do it tomorrow. She ends by joking, my only ground rule is no assassinations. You can't pretend you're going to do it. And then Candace dies in a mysterious accident. Okay, so there she goes again. And so there we go. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is obviously Candace watching the clip of Blake Neff, again, one of Charlie's producers and writers, breaking down all of the various allegations and theories that Candace has around Charlie's death. Then something incredible happened. Candace Owens seemingly may back out of this. Let's go ahead and read. Kind of weird how you didn't email me or ask me about times or availability and chose instead to tweet a confirmation at midnight. So this is the tweet that I just read to you, that they're ready. They're going to do this at 2 p.m. local time on this Monday, December 15th. Why am I learning about this on X? December 15th does not work in person, and 2 p.m. is the literal time I do my podcast live every day, which you know. We're happily cancel the daily podcast. I'll join you guys virtually instead for the live stream on the 15th. Does that work on your end? Let's lock it in. She says, also, I will add that I'm happy to jump on Charlie's show any day before the virtual event as well. I was serious when I said that we could do it today, even. Virtually, I can make it happen pretty much any day because it's easier to move things around the kids and find somebody to sub for my morning homeschooling.
Do you need $300, $500, or even $1,000 fast?
Okay.
5 minutes.
Listen, man, I do a virtual show.
Up,
We rarely have in-person guests. That's a shame. I wish that we could. We just don't get, this just sometimes it's hard to get people to travel through to Tampa. It would be a lot harder to book the show because we'd have to fly a bunch of people in every single day. It'd be a lot more expensive. And so it's just easier. Most people have a webcam and people are just like used to this, by now. Pat McAfee, like there's a bunch of people that have like successful, it's sort of almost near all digital shows, very little in person. And so I don't think that it's a problem. It shouldn't be a problem to do this virtually. It seems like that's the offer. I think they should take her up on it. And so, but I also like, it does feel like, okay, so I can see both ends here. Why not just make it work? December 15th does not work in person. Yeah, I think a lot of people would really like to see that. I'd like to see Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro debate on a stage in person. Being virtual does certainly take some of the like kinetic energy out of it. But I'll take anything. I'll take what we can get. I think that virtual, they should just let it. I think they should let it happen virtually. I'm not in charge. I don't run Charlie's show. I was never part of his show. We worked together at Turning Point. That's what we did. I wasn't part of the tour. But I want to see this happen. They invited you to participate. They didn't say that they would make it the Candace Owens show and work around your schedule. These are your allegations. It's incumbent upon you to make the schedule work. It's kind of like checking spell check before typing the wrong base. So, a lot of people saw the quartering, also like sort of clobbering Candace, Tim Pool as well. I'm going to try, as I have tried throughout this entire scenario, and approach this with extreme respect. Say that everybody wants answers here. The reason why this stuff is taken off in the way that it has is because people don't feel like they've gotten answers, and Charlie meant something to all of us, myself included. And so, like, having Candace on the show, whether it's virtual or in person, I really hope that doesn't become some type of like sticking point then it doesn't happen, right? Much like in the American judicial system, everyone deserves their day in court, as they say, innocent until proven guilty. And there's people whose, I know this as a matter of fact, personal lives have been set on fire because of allegations that Candace has made. And also, I mean, listen, a lot of this sounds like it's a setup for a potential lawsuit. I said that in a previous video, and I'll say it again here. It seems like I don't know that. I don't know. But it seems like it's a setup for a potential lawsuit, because what you do in a defamation lawsuit like this is you have to publicly say that you have to publicly air the truth. You have to give demonstrable evidence to the truth so that you can prove malice. You have to prove malice in any defamation case. And so proving malice would be that you've had a large enough audience see the truth, and then somebody continues with their lies. And so that's what it seems like is happening here. And anyway, what do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Hopefully you join me in thinking that this would be an extreme positive good. I don't know how else to approach it other than I want the truth, right? Like, everybody just wants the truth on this. And this is the way to get there, right? To present the truth. Hopefully law enforcement, like the local law enforcement, the state law enforcement, and the FBI follow suit. I think that the public, frankly, deserves public briefings on the Charlie Kirk assassination every week. That would be my preference.
Okay, that was 2 of many for today. I'm going to get the short clips in. The first one is our death clock lady. She has the date, December 3rd. That was yesterday. So this is up-to-date death clock. Oh. I guess I got to play it on my phone, you guys.
Is December 3rd, 2025. We have actually had a few dead clock messages the last few weeks. I've been so busy, you guys, I haven't been able to get to all of them, but they're all referencing the same thing.
5 minutes.
You guys, the new 50 state credit union banks, 0.3% APR on all loans. They are drilling it into our heads, you guys. Metallicus and the XPR network is what's bringing these to the credit unions, you guys. I even found an older debt clock message that was guiding us to Proton, you guys. You guys remember this debt clock message with the debt scam with science? We've got the atom in the middle, and the atom has coins, right? Actually, this one is not a coin. I think this was green to represent fiat, but we've got the gold right here, and we've got the silver on this side, forming an atom. And this sign right here is what everyone uses to reference the XPR network. Okay, see down here, just an example, Marshall Hayner posted when ISO 20022 went live that it is an international standard for payments and settlement between banks, institutions, and blockchain. This is a core component of the technology that will merge TradeFi with DeFi. Metallicus blockchain and XPR network are the only 2 blockchains in the world that have it live, you guys. This is the proof right here. They are the only ones that have it live, you guys. And not to mention, this debt clock message was posted last year in 2024, like towards the beginning of the year. The XPR network is what will be holding the digital assets, okay? And I want to go over this right here. Now, you guys remember that the masked American was standing on this, right? Which is a clock, and it has the Revelations 12 sign in the middle of it, but it's only showing Jupiter at 7, okay? 7, you guys, is the number that everybody is posting regarding Metallica's XPR network. It's been a whole thing, okay? But right here is showing that Jupiter's at the 7th. On December 7th, Jupiter aligns with the moon. And not to mention, on December 4th, we have a full supermoon, the last supermoon of the year. And then Jupiter aligns with the moon on the 7th of December. And not only that, we also have a solar storm arriving today from the X-class solar flare that we had just a few days ago. And even Stefan Burns is posting biblical prophecy, you guys. There will be signs in the sun, moon, and the stars. Our sun today, December 3rd, 2025, with a filament eruption in the shape of an infinity symbol, you guys. A good omen, if you ask me, you guys. What? This happened today. All of these solar events are happening from the same sunspot that produced the auroras the last time, but now it's numbered a different number. We've got 2 of them about to be Earth-facing this week. Actually, now they're Earth-facing now. So even if we did have an X-class solar flare, it would impact the Earth pretty heavily. I want to go back to this because of Jupiter being heavily emphasized in this deck clock message, you guys. Remember, Atlas reaches its closest point to the Earth on December 19th, okay? And then it goes to Jupiter and arrives at the closest point to Jupiter after that. Why is this weird? Because in this deck clock message, you guys remember, okay, the Revelations 12 sign, but we've got 2 Jupiters right here, and one Jupiter is beaming up on the big Jupiter. Here's a closer look. Okay, so there's 2 Jupiters, and the small one is beaming on the big Jupiter. And this was not part of the Revelations 12 sign. So why did the US deck clock include this? Okay, so I've always questioned this. And then going to this deck clock message, it also has the beaming Jupiters there and Atlas in the sky. So you guys, I don't know how all of this is related as far as Jupiter. I'm assuming it has to do with 3i Atlas reaching its closest point to Jupiter here pretty soon. But things are escalating very, very quickly, you guys. We had a little bit of confirmation yesterday from Dan Scavino, entertainment purposes only, you guys. But he posted this video zooming out from the U.S. Space Force ornament, okay? And if you look at the time he posted it, I'm Central, but he would have posted this at 10:54, which is 22:54 Eastern Standard Time, which takes us to this conspiracy, okay? This conspiracy letter post, all a conspiracy, but the post says, "We are at the precipice. They are fighting back. Remain calm. We are here for a reason. Patriots are in control." And the U.S. deck clock has been showing us that we are right at the precipice. A bunch of their messages indicate just that we are, we're a new world rising and that we're at the critical mass. Everything's building, and we know our president has been showing us that there will be no income tax here pretty soon, which the U.S. deck clock has confirmed as well. I also like that this is in the shape of an ark, and we know Trump is building an ark and the ballroom. So things are getting interesting, you guys. I know Echo has a decode he's going to do, and I'm going to do a follow-up after the one that he posts. Some very interesting things that are being found regarding Metallicus, you guys. It's awesome. So you guys pay attention to what Echo posts, and I will do a follow-up after that, okay? So we will see you guys then. Hey, you guys, we got a new US Tech Talk message today.
What do you guys think of that one? That was a good one, huh? I wish I could have logged in to share screen, but I couldn't.
Today is December.
So, okay, I got your favorite. She has a better one this time. We haven't played her, but it's a decent one. And then we'll do Q.
Because of people like you. People like you who could have given two shits about Candace Owens. So let's stop pretending that you and everyone in this comment section who, let's be real, are lefties. Let's stop acting like you are conservatives, because you're not.
Oh, no, I had
Let's
it.
stop acting like you
I
want
only
some
wear
big
it on
truth
game
that
day.
only
I wear
Candace
my
Owens is going to bring to
news
you.
hat
The only reason you like Candace Owens
normally,
now
but tonight's a
is
big
because she's
game
talking shit about the right and the
tonight.
side of the right. And she's talking shit about Israel. That's why you guys
Right.
love her. You could have given two shits about Candace Owens until she started sounding like you guys, because that's what it comes down to. Candace, so-called being Charlie Kirk's best friend, right? She was so close to him, right? But yet he was totally pulling away from her at the end. She wasn't showing up at all of these college campuses. People like Riley Gaines were. So why wasn't she? If she was such best friends with Charlie Kirk, why wasn't she at his funeral? Oh, that's right. She told you guys it's because the FBI is there, and she's been talking shit about the FBI. She's also talked shit about France's president's wife. And they've said, bring it, sweetheart. You want to do this? They're suing her up the fucking coast. She's given Candace pictures of her when she was a little girl. It doesn't matter. Candace is just saying shit that makes you guys happy, and that's why you guys like her. And in reality, all she's doing is destroying everything that her supposable best friend, Charlie Kirk, built with the conservative movement. What she is doing is creating doubt, and she's creating division inside of the right. And a lot of the right is falling for it, unfortunately. And you want to know who else is cheering for it? The left. People like you. Because, of course, if she says anything, well, it's anti-Semitic, right? You guys are so easily led. All they have to do is grab you by your cow hook, and you're like, yes, we love Candace Owens now. You guys flip-flop over everything. All she has done is sat up there and talked about how Charlie was her best friend and how they were so close. Again, if they were so close, then why wasn't she joining him on the last couple of tours that he did on college campuses? Why wasn't she at his funeral? I don't give this crap that she wasn't safe. The president of the United States and the vice president and most people of our military and most people of our president's administration were at that thing. So they were all perfectly fine. The thing is this. Turning Point has addressed all of her crazy, oh, I've got proof of this coming on tomorrow's podcast. I got proof of this, and I've got proof of this plane, and I've got proof of this, and these people are behind it, and I'm going to tell you on the next podcast, but yet doesn't drop anything. Where's the proof? Where's the proof? I haven't seen any proof of what Candace Owens has been projecting that's killed Charlie Kirk, that it's Erica's behind it, and then Turning Point's behind it. Everything's behind it, but no proof. You guys love it. You guys love it because she's talking shit about the right. She's talking shit about the conservative party and Donald Trump, which she's been doing for a while, which I would imagine is probably why Charlie has pushed away from her, because Charlie was a big supporter of Donald Trump. Probably one of the biggest reasons that our college kids, where the blind of leftism has been shoved off their faces and the blinds have been released off their eyes. And she is causing the division in the Republican conservative movement. Everything Charlie Kirk worked his entire ass off, his entire career for, she herself is stoking division and is destroying us, which is causing problems in the conservative party, which is going to do what? Oh, it's going to hand the Democrats wins in the midterms, because we're not a one united force that Charlie had us being prior to him being murdered by a college student who climbed up on a building and shot him. That's the truth. That's the truth. Up until we see some proof that there isn't the truth. Until I see actual proof and not just Candace Owens telling us on the next podcast, I'm going to drop this and I'm going to drop that, but then drops no proof of anything, I unfollowed her. Yep, I unfollowed her. Because Charlie, you could tell, was pushing away from her even at the end. People like Riley Gaines was going on these tours with him, not her. He kind of stopped pushing away from her because she started talking shit about Israel and Netanyahu, which is why all you lefties all of a sudden love Candace Owens. You thought she was just a crazy right-winger for so many years until she started saying things that you say. Until she started sounding like you guys. Now she's amazing, right? And don't get me started on some of the Republicans when it comes to John Fetterman. Y'all thought John Fetterman was crazy. Now that he's talking shit that you guys like to hear, all of a sudden you're John Fetterman fans. It's all the same. Until I see proof that Erica Kirk was behind the murder of her father and of her children and the love of her life, Like, you hear yourself, Candace? Like, it's just insanity to me. I'm pretty sure that Charlie Kirk's wife is probably going to have a much better understanding of what was going on with Charlie Kirk than Candace Owens ever could be. Maybe because she was home with him every night. Maybe because she was laying with him in the most intimate spots. Maybe because she had children with this person and she was with him more than anybody else. But sure, keep believing that Candace Owens has the big scoop on what happened and all the behind the scenes of what really killed Charlie Kirk. And she's going to let you know as long as you keep subscribing and following and sharing my stuff, and then dropping absolutely no proof, but just crazy bullshit. Turning Point called her out. They said, we'll go toe-to-toe with you on every single little crazy lie and conspiracy theory that Candace Owens has pumped out onto the internet since Charlie Kirk was murdered by another crazy person from the left. So you want to keep, believing it. Of course you do, because you're just another lefty like the rest of them in the comment section who just love conspiracy theories. And especially if it's anti-right conspiracy theories, well then, you guys are all in. And now Candace Owens is your big hero. Someone like me who watched Charlie Kirk and listened to Charlie Kirk and liked Charlie Kirk and found him to be very influential in our colleges and the way that our election and country is looking right now, thank God, was a big portion of Charlie Kirk. And now everything that he has worked for, she is ruining while calling him her best friend. Yeah, I'm sorry. I unfollowed Candace Owens. I don't buy a fucking word. She hasn't shown you any proof. She's just giving you more conspiracy theories and, oh, I know this and someone on the inside told me that, and I'm going to tell you on the next podcast. She's made a lot of fucking money off of her best friend's death.
Was this an old one or a new one, Kay?
I'm sorry. A college kid who was indoctrinated online, climbed up on a building and murdered Charlie Kirk. And Candace Owens has made a lot of fucking money giving you guys all kinds of conspiracy theories every week that you're diving headfirst into. I'm not buying it. Because if she was really Charlie Kirk's friend, she wouldn't be trying to destroy everything that he worked for, his wife, his children's future, for her own profit and gain. But yeah, she can tell you guys that she's afraid for her life and they're coming after me. Again, dropping no proof whatsoever. It's always wait till the next podcast drops and I'll tell you, but then never again drops anything. Yeah, I unfollowed her because all the people on the left who just want to bring Donald Trump down, now they love Candace Owens because she's talking anti-Israel, which is what you want to hear. So now Candace Owens is your best buddy. You guys are just very predictable to me and it drives me crazy. Until I see actual credible proof that someone from Turning Point had this big conspiracy theory with Israel, I think you guys just want to hear anything that's anti-right. And the people on the right who love conspiracy theories, it feeds those dopamine levels, so they hang on her every word while she's dropping zero proof and totally destroying everything that Charlie Kirk worked hard for, which was the conservative movement, which, keep it up, Republicans and people on the right and even independent who voted right for this change in our government. You're going to hand it right back to the crazies. And we're going to go right back to where it was. So a government spending money and filling their pockets and their lobbyist pockets while we are, the baby daddy to every other country out there, and our economy plunging and our border being destroyed. We're going to go back to that because everything that Charlie Kirk worked really hard for, she's destroying with every one of her conspiracy theories that she keeps you guys hooked and fed while you're waiting for the next episode to drop. I unfollowed Candace Owens because if she was really friends with Charlie Kirk, she wouldn't be, hurting his movement. His kids.
Okay. Is this about over? I don't know, okay. She's really changed. I guess I won't play her no more.
This country. We've got a problem because our ingenious founders gave us a government by which we had three co-equal branches of government. And unfortunately, we are losing to one of them. This judicial branch has lost its ever-loving mind. And now it's to the point to where we saw them going after Donald Trump. We saw them trying to reverse Trump's decisions and blocking and doing everything they could to slow Trump down until hopefully for them that they are able to win back Congress. Well, now they've decided to go even further, and they've decided to go ahead and usurp Congress as well. So what have we heard over and over again? Well, Donald Trump is going above the Constitution, and therefore he is overstepping his bounds or overstepping his role as president by issuing executive orders. And so laws are supposed to be written by Congress. So what did Congress do? Congress said, okay, we're going to write a law. We are going to write a law, make a bill so that and pass that bill. And we are going to cut off funding to Planned Parenthood. And so they did that. And now a judge, Judge Indris, she has now decided that she is going to block that law from going into effect, saying, oh, there isn't enough time for the states to properly prepare. Wait a minute. We were told in 6 months that we all had to get a brand new driver's license. Otherwise, we weren't going to be able to fly on airplanes. I understand that there was some idea that that was going to happen eventually, but we were told, hey, 6 months, get it done by this day. Otherwise, you can't fly anymore, even within the country. And then the government is told, hey, starting in January, this law was passed in July. Starting in January, we're no longer going to be sending you X amount of dollars to each state to be appropriated for Planned Parenthood. That's our money. How does she then have the right to usurp Congress's authority and say, oh, yes, you are. You're going to continue to pay for Planned Parenthood? Now, the reason why this is such a huge problem is because Planned Parenthood is able to be funded or has been funded, but there's been a lot of lawsuits from Christian programs that work solely off of donations. That one we talked about yesterday that doesn't offer abortions, but still offers pregnancy services or female services through their clinics, but they're not entitled to any of those funds in any state. And so there was a constitutional issue that arose where why is it that Planned Parenthood is able to get all of these dollars, but we don't get those dollars? The only difference between the two is because we're a nonprofit and we're no longer and we're not offering or referring people for abortions. So which is it are you funding? Are you funding Planned Parenthood? Are you funding these resource centers? Are you funding abortions? And that was a true question to be asked. And because of that, they decided they're going to cut funding altogether, which I'm cool with either way. The more money we're able to save, the better I think it is. But for this judge to come out and say that she's going to block a law that was signed or that was passed through Congress and signed by Donald Trump, this has gone too far. It's a bridge way too far.
No.
Let me know what you guys think about it. Comment below. I'll see you guys next.
Hey, that's number one. I got 3 of them. Chico.
Connie Willis is being absolutely destroyed right now, not only in the court of public opinion, not only has her own party turned their back on her and seen her for the hack that she truly is, all of her cases are now falling apart. So you guys know that she attempted to make life rough on Donald Trump by going at Trump through his supporters, at attacking A, his supporters, B, those that were co-conspirators that were trying to help him figure out what took place in 2020. She wanted to make sure no one would ever stand with Donald Trump ever again. And you know what? Many people have stood 10 toes down for Donald Trump and said, you know what? Do what you will. I'm going to stand for the truth. I'm so thankful for those people that have true courage. We unfortunately have seen a whole lot of spineless people, but thank God for the ones that actually have courage and have said, we're going to stand by Donald Trump. And I believe that Donald Trump will reward that type of loyalty to not just Donald Trump, because I mean, it's a lot bigger than that. Loyalty to their country. And I'm truly thankful for these people. One such person is Harrison Floyd, Black Voices for Trump, there in Fulton County. He was tried with RICO. Obviously, everybody he was tried with RICO, and in addition to that, influencing a witness. Now, they've been trying to get this court case thrown out and haven't been able to do so. Finally, his lawyers brought a fantastic argument, and immediately Scott McAfee ruled that he granted a certificate of immediate review from the appellate court. So it's going straight to appeals at this point, and this case is going to get thrown out, in my opinion. The reason for it is that she is attempting to, Fonnie Willis is attempting to try Mr. Harrison for election interference, for trying to overturn and interfere in an election. The problem is that Fonnie Willis does not, as a district attorney, have the jurisdiction to do that. The only way that she can do that is if there is a referral from the Board of Elections. The Board of Elections has not made any complaints. They have not given any referrals to her. She chose to assert herself above the Board of Elections in an attempt to get all of these people. And there has not been any such assertion made for any of these cases. So this is just the first domino to fall. And I believe that all of the co-conspirators, and in fact, even Donald Trump, I believe that all these cases are going to have to be dismissed. All the ones that had to do with election interference, when there was no referral, this is about to fall apart for her. And I'm excited about it, because we've seen this has been nothing but a crap show. But I'm going to be keeping you guys up to date on this. This story is going to continue to unfold. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Guys, make sure you guys like this video. Even if you feel that you are, please
welcome.
Go ahead, subscribe. Make sure that you are subscribed, because many people have been getting unsubscribed. The goal is to reach 30,000 subscribers by the end of the week. I know we can do it. With your help, we will. I'll see you guys next.
Hey, one more cue. Playing this one is 5 minutes. She's on TikTok now.
COVID. Explain to me the shift that you've seen in the likes of the Megyn Kellys, the Tucker Carlson. How sharp has this shift into this new space been?
If you were to watch Fox News or CNN, yes, there was a bias, and yes, they would say some crazy things now and then, but it was within a certain boundary. I think they were still doing real reporting, discussing the news, the facts, how they saw it, doing real interviews that were respectful, and trying to actually get to some semblance of a truth or reveal something for their audience. What's interesting about Tucker is he was fired from Fox News, probably over the Dominion scandal, and then he went to do his podcast. When he started the podcast, it was pretty reasonable. It was a conservative podcast, not really that distinguishable from other podcasts in that lane. If you actually look at some of the stuff he was saying maybe in 2022 or 2023, where he would talk about, let's say, Israel. He would talk about Israel and say, well, we give Israel funding. It's debatable whether or not they need it. They can probably defend themselves. They can handle themselves. Giving funding or military aid to Israel puts unnecessary shackles on Israel that prevent them from achieving their military goal, which is actually a pretty mainstream opinion. Even within Israel, a lot of people are having that debate, not take American aid is a legitimate debate.
Laura Loomer has been very vocal on that.
She talked about, I think like maybe a few days ago, she openly said that America stopped giving aid to Israel. What's interesting is now in 2025, when he talks about Israel, he says that America is literally subsidizing Israel. Israel would not exist if it weren't for America giving them aid. They don't have a real economy. Their economy is all propped up by the United States, healthcare system, universities, all funded by America. And that is a lie, obviously, because we give Israel roughly, $3.8 billion billion a year. That money is then used to literally given back to us because they buy American missiles and weapons and stuff with that money. And also they have a $500 billion economy within Israel, GDP, which they use to fund their own university system, healthcare. Like, we're not subsidizing that, but that's what he's telling his audience. That's just a lie. And I think that there's been a shift towards this willingness to tell outright lies because that's what the audience wants to hear.
If someone hits back on that with facts, it's, oh, we're not allowed to criticize Israel. Oh, you're trying to silence me. It's the
yeah,
same
he
thing.
does. He does that. And he also kind of wants them to criticize Israel. And if they don't, or if they say, well, the issue isn't Israel, it's some other country, it's actually Qatar, which probably is Qatar. But then what
it is Qatar.
But then what he'll do is like he'll immediately interrupt them and say, oh, okay. And then he'll pivot to another subject and try to get off of it. What's interesting with his show is always criticizing Israel, Jews in the Middle East, but not necessarily willing to criticize radical Islam. In some cases, making excuses for it, saying that Hamas isn't a terrorist organization.
Why does everyone talk about Israel all the time? Why does everyone talk about Israel? And then when he finally covers the Christian genocide in Nigeria, which he did last week, the focus is entirely on, oh no, it doesn't actually exist. He can't for a second actually say Islamic extremism and all the other forces at play there are evil in doing this.
To single-handedly point out Israel without bringing up the fact that in the entire Islamic world, Christians are routinely persecuted, murdered, exterminated by Islamist forces and terrorist groups. That's happening as we speak in Nigeria, and actually denying that's happening in Nigeria. And the Nigerian Christians themselves are coming out and releasing videos saying that we are being persecuted and murdered because of our faith. You have Christian organizations in the United States who have to raise money to pay for the release of Christian hostages in Nigeria by these terrorist groups. So they literally have to give terrorist groups money so Christians are not being murdered. And that actually, ironically, is funding the terrorist group. Someone with his platform could be spreading that and inspire some congressional action in the United States. Instead, he decides to act as if it's not happening. And then that causes people like me to believe you don't really care about Christians, so there probably is some other incentive here, some other motive. And what's always the common denominator here? I don't like to pull the anti-Semitism card. I'm not even Jewish.
And I don't either. I feel like that weakens for some reason. That just doesn't hit like it used to, and people just go, oh,
well, it's being called an anti-Semite and white supremacist doesn't hit like it used to. You can't really use that to take someone down.
People don't fear being called that because it's lost kind of the potency.
And I would add that for some people it's become a badge of honor, which is actually kind of dangerous. And I've seen that on the radical left and the radical right, where they actually like being called an anti-Semite because it means that in their view doing the right thing, which is attacking Israel hard enough to get that label. You see it with Tucker, it was very obvious, but I also think you're seeing with Megyn Kelly, which I think is a more fascinating case.
Now. Podcast rankings, she's #1. So this is an overall podcast ranking.
Oh, okay.
And she's been at #1 consistently. The more that she seems to cop heat.
I'm grateful to see Ben at least at #4, so that people are getting some sort of a balanced opinion.
Right, that takes away from my theory because it's kind of Megyn, it's Tucker. Ben is generally always up there. Candace is up there. But see, they're feeding each other a lot as well, aren't they? Because, Ben Shapiro is going on Megyn Kelly's show, even though they pose on many things, everyone feeds off each other.
I kind of do wonder if there's kind of like a soap opera effect or reality TV effect where people are like, okay, I can't believe Ben said this about Tucker, so I'm going to listen to Tucker's show, see the response.
They all benefit.
It's all entertainment at the end of the day. And I think they understand the importance of doing the entertainment aspect. I think that's where we see the anti-Semitism is coming from. The incentive is to be as outlandish and crazy as possible to get eyeballs.
Okay, that's the first one that's been on TikTok. I got a 3-parter. It's only 3 minutes. Only 3 minutes.
For these people that want to come over here for a better life, I want to go to Germany. I want to go to UK, and no one else has a firearm, and I'll go over there and I just go run like a savage with a firearm. Like that. This doesn't make sense, you guys. And for you to sit here and act like this on this TV show, like you have this big open heart, like Selena Gomez did, is crazy. You don't sit there and act like you have this big open heart when all these illegals that you support need homes, and you're just sitting there, oh, this is so bad. You just feel so bad. Why don't you give them a place to stay? Why don't you aid in what is it? Aid and abet a criminal. Why aren't you doing that? These people swear they risk their lives. That's why you don't sit there and listen to these celebrities and these artists. All these people sit there with all these millions and millions upon millions of dollars, sit there and lie like they really care about the problem that's at hand. The problem is a bunch of illegals are here, and the solution is get them gone, because the American people need to be put first for once. It's a huge mandate for change. Trump is in office, and that's what we're finally seeing, guys. Let's continue this video.
That
Cruelty
seems
is the
to be what
point.
he's into. Like, let's show this happening. And when you keep showing pictures of immigrants being pushed out and maybe even pulled away from their children, the American people will have to look into themselves.
But 87% support deporting criminal undocumented migrants. If he
I don't know anybody in the world. I don't know anybody in the world who wants to keep the criminals. I don't know anybody.
That's what he should be focused.
So now Trump has a point. You don't know anyone in the world that wants to keep the criminals.
Sorry about that, you guys. I thought that was. We'll do Doug's videos. Well, go up top here and get. Another one on TikTok, a short clip. Why are they not letting me play that? Dang it.
In the entire world has ever had a sad past. You know, white people were slaves too. You know, the Moorish pirates took white people as slaves. You know, that happened for a long time. You know how many white people have been slaves? You know how many white people have suffered, been persecuted, been treated badly? You know, the white people in South Africa right now, the Rhodesian farmers have to sleep with guns beside their bed, and they hear any noise. They know it could be an invading, looting band of people coming in hell-bent on destroying their farms and killing them in horrific ways. Yes, that's still happening. It's actually going on right now in South Africa against the white farmers. You know, my grandmother picked cotton, or not my grandmother, my great-grandmother. My grandmother on my mom's side, her mother, picked cotton. They struck hard times. Her husband died, and she had 14 children to take care of. 14 children to take care of in a time where there was not a welfare state, and she was too proud to go in and even try to get welfare. Yeah, that's white people's past. She picked cotton in Georgia in the summer heat. She had 14 kids. She was very young, so obviously she was basically always pregnant. With that in mind, she was literally out in the hot Georgia fields and Alabama fields picking cotton. One story I remember distinctly, as it was just horrifying and so sad, is that while she's out doing this back-breaking labor out in the fields, a woman, pregnant, she had a little infant as well, and she had laid it down in a little shed. True story, by the way. She had laid it down in a little shed near the field so she can watch and work at the same time because her children were starving, and was the sole provider at that point. A hammer fell down, or some implement fell off one of the shelves and killed that little baby as she was out in the field. She had one of her babies out in the field, gave birth alone in a cotton field. That's my great-grandmother. Was your great-grandmother in the fields?
Hey, Carol,
No, they had already been freed by then. Much to their chagrin, by the way. If you read some of the stories, lots of them were like, please don't free us. What are we going to do? Please keep us. We want to stay here and work. Yeah, so that's white people. That's actually a pretty close, as far as generations go, pretty close. So my ancestors were out in the fields picking cotton. And do you hear us complaining about that? No, but it's just you. Woe is me. Woe is me. You owe us everything. You owe us apologies. Just like the guy in the first video said, all they do is demand more and more. And we're sick of it. We're not apologizing. You need to apologize. You owe us a massive apology. Maybe for like the murders you've been committing regularly.
She okay, you guys?
For the looting. Remember 2016 and the BLM riots when you...
Next one is Trish, 5 minutes.
this was quite a thing to see. I mean, he had this like epic rant against Ilhan Omar, the lady from Minnesota, where we now are finding out about a $1 billion fraud that was run by the Somali ring. And I'll tell you, Trump is not having it. He just shut off 19 countries that cannot come here. He's shutting down any ability of these particular countries, of which Somalia is one, to be able to come here. Well, now Ilhan Omar is scrambling. Like, she's on defense because Donald Trump came out and had some pretty nasty things to say about her. I mean, this is like epic, even for him, for goodness sakes. I was watching it in real time with you guys yesterday as this just came in. I was like, oh my goodness. And we might have to be careful because he may actually use a bad word in this. But here is Donald Trump talking about Somalia and Ilhan. And wait till you see her response. She's got nothing.
And they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country is no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. Our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other. And we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
Listen.
Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage.
Wow.
These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go. Come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain.
And then they complain and it rhymes with itch.
They got nothing. They came from paradise and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell and they complain and do nothing but.
Ooh, I thought I had it out. Sorry.
Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Thank you very much.
Round of applause. My goodness. I mean, like I said, this was a lot for even him, but he's kind of had it. Between the $1 billion in fraud, between the, Ilhan Omar being as miserable as she is, and the desire for so many of these people that came here looking for a better life to kind of bring us back to craziness and socialism and communism. And, her husband's worth a fortune. Kind of makes you wonder what's going on there. $30 million allegedly. Net worth as high as $30 million because you see he has a VC firm that's not really a VC firm. I think it's more of a lobbying firm. And why do we allow that? Why is it that you could be a member of Congress and have a hubby who's a lobbyist? Does anybody see something wrong with that? I think that's pretty damn wrong. And this exists a lot. So there's a lot of women that have hubbies that are lobbyists. Ilhan Omar is one of them. So Ilhan Omar and Somali scammers are the immigrants we don't want, writes Rich Lowry. So Rich is, I don't know if he's really a never Trumper. Can I say that about Rich? I don't know where he stands these days, but he's called out Trump a lot. And on this one, he's like, Trump is totally right. So this is his article in the New York Post. He's over, I think he's still over at National Review. He writes, in the course of her successful life here, very successful, very far from the place that she grew up, in a country characterized by its prosperity, its peace, its prosperity and opportunity, one would have thought that she would have steadily accumulated a debt of gratitude. Most heritage Americans, after all, never become members of Congress or enjoy a net worth as high as $30 million, because the hubby allegedly has a venture capital firm, which really, because I looked at it, seems like a lobbying firm. Sketch. Sus. But no, quite the opposite. In Omar's version, a Washington Post profile noted a few years ago, America wasn't the big-hearted country that saved her from a brutal war and bleak refugee camp. It wasn't a mediocrity that helped her attend college or vaulted her into Congress. Instead, it was the country that had failed to live up to its founding ideals, a place that had disappointed her and so many immigrants, refugees, and minorities like her. It's not just that she came from nothing, he writes, and now is a person with prestige in certain circles, not this one, and resources. She may well have gotten away with a scheme years ago to marry her brother for fraudulent purposes, he writes. I know Pam has a lot on her plate, but can somebody please look into that? Like, please? Because that would actually be sort of fraudulent if you came here and you married your brother in order to help get some kind of citizenship. That might actually bring a lot of things into question. Just saying. Like,
Yeah, but
I know we got a lot of
this
priorities right
one,
now.
huh?
But this is why you need a really kick-ass killer team running your DOJ.
I thought this was going to be good.
So Ilhan Omar is now responding to all of this, and she had some kind of lame tweet saying, "Oh, well, he always just goes back to this." And then she went on again, one of those networks. They're all kind of the same, honestly. Anyway, she went on one of those nice places where they'll treat her well and they won't ever challenge her, and just went off about Trump. And it's like, okay, come on, honey. You're just back at, we've heard this one before. I mean, it's the same old all over again. Poor Ilhan, scrambling to respond to the president's really direct comments about her and her friends. Watch.
He's always been a racist, a bigot, a xenophobic, and Islamophobic. We know that he called African nations a hole in his first administration. We know that when he came down that escalator, he said he was going to stop Muslim immigration into this country. And so it is not surprising that he is going after Black immigrants in this country. And it's certainly not surprising that he's choosing a Black immigrant community that is also Muslim. But what I would like to say is that most of us are citizens. On our passport, it says we are nationals of this country. We love that Minnesota has welcomed us. Many of us have not been settled in Minnesota. We chose it as a home because the Minnesota people and the state is beautiful and very welcoming. And we are going to be here regardless of what the president has to say.
I agree. I love the tweet.
Oh, I agree. Well, very welcoming. I mean, very welcoming. So welcoming that you guys are able to, rig some kind of system where allegedly you took $1 billion right out of taxpayers' hands. I mean, it's so welcoming because, they just are nice people there in Minnesota. And look what happened. So, maybe the president's right. Maybe you can't be that nice. Maybe we don't even have to put it on Donald Trump. Maybe we go back to the soundbite I played for you earlier. 1989, Joe Biden saying, we got to be tougher. We got to take the criminals out. We actually have to be a whole lot tougher. He was complaining the Republicans weren't doing enough. Oh, yeah. Things have changed.
Okay, that's Trisha. Doug's video is next. The first one is 11 minutes. Or I think we should do this. Half hour, you guys.
With placing the pipe bomb, the RNC, and the DNC on January 5th, 2021. He has been charged with violating 18 USC 844, which is use of an explosive device. This investigation is ongoing. As we speak, search warrants are being executed, and there could be more charges to come. I'm going to let our U.S. attorney discuss that shortly. This was the work of multiple agencies working together. This morning's operation was carried out safely and successfully. We know that there are so many issues when you're issuing search warrants. Dangerous things can happen, and this was carried out safely and securely, thanks to all of the people standing around me. They have worked tirelessly on this. Today's arrest happened because the Trump administration has made this case a priority. The total lack of movement on this case in our nation's capital undermined the public trust of our enforcement agencies. This cold case languished for 4 years until Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino came to the FBI. The FBI, along with U.S. Attorney Pirro and all of our prosecutors, have worked tirelessly for months, sifting through evidence that had been sitting at the FBI with the Biden administration for 4 long years. Let me be clear, there was no new tip, there was no new witness, just good, diligent police work and prosecutorial work, working as a team along with ATF, Capitol Police, Metropolitan Police Department, and of course, the FBI. We are working every day to restore the public's trust. We hope that today is a significant step towards that progress. We'll share more information when we can and when it unfolds. I cannot stress enough how hard Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino have worked for months to make our nation's capital safer and to make our country safer. I'd like to introduce now Director Patel.
Thank you, General. When you attack American citizens, when you attack our institutions of legislation, when you attack our nation's capital, you attack the very being of our way of life. And this FBI and this Department of Justice stand here to tell you that we will always refute it and combat it. We will provide the safest country the nation has ever seen under President Trump's leadership here. And that's what we did here today with great resolve on a case of massive public importance, as it should be. An individual who is now alleged to have placed multiple explosive devices to blow up multiple people and multiple officials, innocent civilians, is now arrested thanks to the brave men and women of the FBI and the interagency. I want to take a moment to thank the Metropolitan Police Department, the United States Capitol Police, our brave prosecutors, the Department of Justice, and our leader, Attorney General Pam Bondi, and U.S. Attorney Janine Pirro, whose relentless work on this case made this possible. As the Attorney General said, we did not discover any new information. What we did, an investigation spearheaded by the Deputy Director and the ADIC of our Washington field office, brought in a new team of investigators and experts, re-examined every piece of evidence, sifted through all the data, something that the prior administration refused and failed to do. As a result of that, we generated numerous investigative leads, executed multiple legal process with our U.S. attorney partners, and came to this conclusion today. And that is why we were able to safely secure this individual into custody. Remember, we are dealing with an individual who is alleged to have made bombs. We cannot do this sort of takedown in haste because it endangers the lives of law enforcement. And this FBI will never allow the lives of law enforcement and our prosecutors to be put in jeopardy. This execution was flawless in terms of teamwork, resilience, and just a good old-fashioned way of police getting the job done. When you let good cops be cops, this is what happens. I'm eternally grateful to the team behind me, to the leadership at the FBI who made this possible. But I do want to highlight when I introduced the deputy, he made this case and so many others, including Summer Heat, his priority to come in here and solve it for the American people. And today, I'm proud to stand here before you and say, we solved it. He will have his day in court. The American public and the world will learn even more information through the legal process, as we have committed under this Attorney General. We are the most transparent law enforcement operation in U.S. history, but we are also going to make sure accountability is delivered to its fullest extent. And that happens in the courts of law with our U.S. attorneys and our prosecutors. So we will divulge information when it is prudent and constitutionally permissible, while upholding the safeguards of this case to make sure that the people that this individual intended to victimize get the accountability they deserve, and most importantly, to deliver on President Trump's promise to secure our nation's capital and the rest of the cities in this country, to make sure that Americans are allowed to go out free and securely in their neighborhoods, and that people around the world are allowed to visit our nation's capital, and they now have that trust thanks to the leadership of the FBI, the Washington field office, and I'm honored now to introduce to you Deputy Director Bongino, who spearheaded this investigation.
Thank you all for being here for this critical investigation we've been working on for a very long time. We deeply appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words, Attorney General and Director. I appreciate it. Folks, this is what it's like when you work for a president who tells you to go get the bad guys and stop focusing on other extraneous things not related to law enforcement. This is what happens. We had a great team. I know it's said a lot in this business. It was a team effort. It becomes cliche, but cliches are useful for a reason because they matter. And this was a team effort. The director and the attorney general emphasized that it was not a new public tip this came from. This was our internal work at the FBI. And I want to just really express my sincere.
My energy bill dropped from $150 to $50 by doing this. My friends laughed at me when I spent $49 on.
Well, all right, so that news conference is now wrapping. Dan Bongino up at the microphone there. Pam Bondi making the announcement of this arrest of the DC pipe bomber. Gosh, 5 years later.
But because they weren't sure if there were going to be other bombs there.
That's all there was. That was weird.
To a bunch that he fired, but we're going to get into even more judges that will be removed because of the auto pen. This is secretly an auto pen show. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the Happy Patriots are. Let's get right to the news. I'll show you exactly what I mean in case that was a little confusing. My goal is to not be confusing or smart or just get clicks, but to show you what it all means. Here's the main news first is the Trump administration fires 8 immigration judges in New York, okay? The firing at 26 Federal Plaza are part of a broader effort since January that has removed over 100 judges. Those are all Democrat judges, guys, nationwide through dismissals, pressure, or early retirements. The Executive Office for Immigration Review points to issues like productivity and impartiality, which Democrat judges are not capable of. Though no specific reasons were given for the New York group amid a backlog exceeding 3 million cases. Everyone goes, why doesn't anyone go to jail? Where's the arrests? Guys, there's 300 million cases backlogged in New York. When people tell me, Doug, you should sue blah, blah for libel for saying this about you in public, I'm going, guys, our court system. I don't rely on it at all. The administration is hiring deportation judges with salaries up to $207,000 to accelerate removals, drawing criticism from Democrats like Senator Adam Schiff, barely American, not a patriot, Adam Schiff, who introduced a bill to curb temporary appointments lacking experience. So he doesn't want any of these new judges that Trump's going to put in there that don't have the experience because they're not lifelong Democrats lying to the people. Just a quick expansion on it. This is the election wizard breaking. Trump just axed nearly a dozen immigration judges in Manhattan in one swoop. Sources tell the New York Times they were fired for being too lenient on asylum and deportation matters and too slow in processing cases. The Times reports the purge has begun, but really it's the auto pen, guys. It's the auto pen judges that were signed by Biden that are sitting on the bubble now. I'll give you the evidence for that right after a word from this sponsor, from our sponsor, Chapter, guys. I'm serious. I'm trying to shake out some more of you who have not called that number yet, 631-961-8696. That's the one that benefits the show. And I've only gotten these testimonies from you. I'm not cherry picking these guys. These are the comments that you guys leave. And if you call Chapter, you can leave your comment below and tell me your experience. Here's one. Chapter was great. They helped me out tremendously. The lady I worked with made sure I got the coverage I needed. She listened to my concerns and was very polite. They have great service and they care about you and the Medicare decisions you're making. Here's one at the top. Whoever mentioned that they called Chapter Sunday, thank you, as I got right through as well. Yeah, guys, weekends and mornings are the best time to call, but you're going to get in line. December 7th is going to be the biggest clogged toilet since Fonnie Willis went to Hometown Buffet. They said they are not many days left, and it's really worth it. All caps. Here's another one called Chapter, and they tweaked my current coverage and will save me $408 annually plus added benefits. Happy. Thank you, Doug. MAGA. Guys, just trust me. There's a link down in the description. It's in the description. It's the first pinned comment. Call my buddies at Chapter. That's 631-961-8696 and tell them Doug in Exile sent you. It really helps us out a lot, and tell us your experience. Back to the news. This is the real news I wanted to give you. This testimony is Jeffrey Zients on the AutoPen scandal. This is about, did he write an email approving the AutoPen? Watch this.
Clear how this information makes it from the president's mouth to being signed by the AutoPen. I'm going to recite how I understand this, and you tell me if that's correct or incorrect. So Bruiser Ed walked to Rosa, communicated what the president wanted. Then Rosa called you and told you, and then you directed Rosa to use your email to send in your email account to send an email to Fiona and Stephanie, and then one of them would direct someone to actually AutoPen the pardon.
Yeah, I think important to add that
Adobe Acrobat Studio is all new. What can PDF Spaces with AI do? Do a sales invoice good enough to eat? Adobe Express brings the heat. Now we're talking. It's time to share. Every page, every doc, everything's right there. Now you can do that with the all-new Acrobat.
David Yurman. More meaningful with time.
5 minutes.
Michael, Ed Siskel is on this email. He's the White House counsel and was pointing on the pardons. But yes.
This is Jeffrey Zients, the former White House chief of staff, kind of a Stephen Miller level guy for Joe Biden, his chief of staff. And this is the chain of email commands, basically playing telephone, of the person ordering, which is supposed to be Joe Biden ordering a pardon. And then how it got all the way down through Jeffrey Zients in this email exchange.
From yourself to Rosa Poe, copying Fiona Byung, Ed Siskel, Michael Posada, Stephanie Feldman, Bruce Reed. So same people, right?
Yes.
And can you read your response?
I approve the use of the AutoPen for the execution of all the following pardons. Thanks.
I approve the use of the AutoPen in the use of all of these pardons. That's Jeffrey Zients. I approve, not Joe Biden. I think this case is going to reverse so many. How does this affect judges? Let's get back to judges. Here's the California Globe. Biden administration's use of AutoPen to appoint federal judges. That's the equivalent of a Boasberg, investigated by the GOP, our good buddies at the GOP. This is where this whole thing started. This is back on September 22nd. Comer's good work. Former President Biden enjoyed a record number of Senate confirmations of lifetime federal judges. The question is, did Zients say, I approve, or did Biden say, I approve? House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, Republican, is overseeing the investigation of the Biden administration's expansive use of the AutoPen for presidential pardons, executive orders, and nominees, specifically those confirmed by the U.S. Senate for lifetime federal judges. So I'm only saying, if Trump can wipe out those 8 judges in New York and Manhattan, why not wipe out these? That's where I believe they're going with this line of reasoning. Despite Biden telling the New York Times that he directly approved and personally made every decision when the AutoPen was used, GOP lawmakers are investigating whether or not the expansive use of the AutoPen by administration officials is legal. See, they have no paper trail that Biden gave his approval. All they have is a paper trail of guys like Zients in that last clip saying, I approve, which is illegal. Last week, in an interview with Fox News, Comer confirmed that the federal judiciary appointments would absolutely be examined as part of the ongoing investigation. Former President Joe Biden enjoyed a record number of Senate confirmations of the federal judges. And there's no way, guys, that guy was senile and in a coma. No way he was presently going, pull the trigger on the auto pen. But wait, there's more. Here's the White House. This is back. What started the whole thing was Trump's declaration from a White House tweet, hereby declared null and void, Trump, any and all documents, proclamations, executive orders, memorandums, or contracts signed by order of the now infamous and unauthorized auto pen within the administration of Joseph R. Biden Jr. are hereby null, void, and no further force or effect. Remove all of the federal judges. Am I right, my people? But wait, this is going to go to the state level also. Look at this one. This was posted by Elon Musk. This has to be done nationwide. Indiana moves to impeach rogue. This has nothing to do with the auto pen. This is just them being rogue. Rogue judges as prosecutors, finally real teeth for public safety. Indiana Rep. Andrew Ireland filed a proposed constitutional amendment to let the state legislature impeach judges and prosecutors who go soft on violent offenders. Many of you are going, why are there no arrests? Why is Boasberg still in office? Do you know why? Because it's not even constitutional to impeach him yet. Or I should say, the high crimes and misdemeanors is the crimes. He has to literally show on paper where he took a bribe, not just caught and released a violent criminal 14 times so they can murder our blonde daughters. Repeat killers or rapists get a slap on the wrist, and now lawmakers could boot the enablers out the door. The push, it's aimed square at spots like Marion County, where critics say DA Ryan Mears has let folks with rap sheets like the Indigo bus arsonist who burned a woman, a 26-year-old woman on the bus, walk free, spiking fear in neighborhoods. Ireland's bill would expand impeachment beyond just high crimes to straight up failure to enforce the laws that protect innocents, also known as Democrat judges, needing approval in 2 legislative sessions before hitting the voters. So the voters, there's our good guy right there, Mr. Ireland. Well, we could get a chance to vote on this. I'm going to ask my chat if you can vote to impeach judges that allow hardened criminals to get off with 14 multiple arrests and release them. Should they be impeached? Are you for this amendment? Will this backfire on Republicans in any way? Let me know in the chat below, guys. I care what you think, and don't forget to call chat.
Okay, I got some short ones here.
Uganda. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I could show you far more riveting examples of blacks in the aircraft industry. Just not even get started with the black pilots and the black crew. By the way, if you're ever, sorry, I keep hitting this. If you're ever flying through Charlotte, North Carolina, just assume something will go wrong. I have had to deplane. I've had to get on different planes multiple times because of we didn't fill out this right paperwork, or there's something wrong with the ground crew did. And take a minute to guess. I'm going to give you a second to guess. Why do you think the Charlotte airport is so bad? This one really takes a high IQ to get. I'm going to give you a little hint. African Americans. When you drop down in the airport at Charlotte, it is nothing but a black crew. Everyone's black. Everyone's black. And that's not a coincidence that it's so incompetent there, that there's always something going wrong, that you're always delayed. There's always something going wrong, and it's quite dangerous. Same with the Atlanta airport. I mean, do I even need to go there? So this phenomenon of blacks on aircraft, and I don't really know what it is. Could it be that aviation is such a white person's thing, since aviation took so much high IQs to create and innovate? Maybe it's because people who don't have those qualities just really clash with that sort of industry, right? That's a high IQ industry. So maybe when you put people who necessarily don't qualify those criteria, maybe that's why there's always the clash. I don't know. But anytime I go to the airport, there's always some sheboon causing trouble, wreaking havoc, and raising hell. And that is the modern experience in the aviation world. Let's just hope you have a white pilot and you might actually make it to your destination, assuming one of these people do not decide to throw a tantrum and get you all deplaned.
Okay. This one, I can't remember if I played this one.
Against Ilhan Omar. Listen to
You guys
this.
remember this one?
Minnesota Democrats, media, and the Department of Justice have continually ignored strong evidence supporting the fact that Ilhan Omar may be directly involved in tax, marriage, and immigration fraud.
In 2002, Omar married Ahmed Hirsi in a religious ceremony. Hirsi is the father of Omar's 3 children, and is pictured often with Omar and their children on their campaign website.
In 2016, Minnesota journalist Scott Johnson received a tip about a post from a Somali community website.
Okay, I stopped. All right, let's do cash video. Here you go. I want to see.
Now targeting the Twin Cities, its next immigration crackdown. City officials say as many as 100 federal agents are expected to be deployed in both Minneapolis and St. Paul in the coming days.
It's going to be a
President
war
Trump
zone.
says this new ICE effort will focus on Somalis that are here illegally with final deportation orders.
Okay,
They
so they're
contribute nothing.
people
The
who shouldn't
welfare
be
is
here.
like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Okay? Somebody say, oh, that's not politically
He's talking
correct. I
about
don't care.
people
the AP
in the
reports that
country breaking
enforcement
the
operation
law.
will focus on Somali immigrants living unlawfully here. The expectation is that starts this week. Today, those Twin Cities leaders offered a show of support for the Somali community, and the mayor of Minneapolis says he believes ICE will break the law and sweep up American citizens.
Why would he believe that?
Targeting Somali people means that due process will be violated. Mistakes will be made.
They're not targeting
And let's be clear,
Somali
it means
people.
that
They're targeting
American
illegal immigrants.
citizens will be detained for no other reason than the fact that they look like they are Somali.
No, ICE doesn't
Mayor
deport
Jacob Fry
people
says an
who are U.S.
overwhelming majority
citizens.
of Somali people in Minnesota have a legal right to be here.
So then what's the
Minnesota is
problem?
home to about 80,000 Somali people, more than any other state in the nation. And CARE estimates about 95% of them are U.S. citizens.
Great,
St.
so there's
Paul's
no
Mayor
problem.
Melvin Carter calls the president's recent rhetoric racist.
What?
So what you heard the president say today was that he is incompetent and incapable of being a president for the people of the United States, because he just said out loud that he despises Americans.
That's not what he said. He said he despises
the mayor of
criminals.
Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, is saying that he's actually proud to have the largest Somali community in the country, and his police chief.
Well, then he's a fool.
Well, his police chief is also
I
saying.
wouldn't be proud to have the largest Somalian. Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. Look, these Somalians have taken billions of dollars out of our country. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother.
Wow.
That's a fraud. She tries to deny it now, but you can't really deny it because it just happened. She shouldn't be allowed to be a congresswoman, and
Something
I'm sure
may
people are
happen to
looking
her.
at that. And she should be thrown the of our country.
That's
And
crazy.
most of those people, but they have destroyed Minnesota. Okay, Minnesota, you have an incompetent governor. You have a crooked governor. He's crooked.
Look, nobody's got any problem with people who come to America, love America, obey our laws, do not commit fraud, and do not allow $1 billion to vanish from a state like Minnesota.
Be ashamed. That beautiful land, that beautiful state. It's a hellhole right now. And the Somalians should be out of here. They've destroyed our country.
He's talking about
and
the
all they do
criminals.
is complain, complain, complain. You have her. She's always talking about the Constitution provides me with Go back to your own country and figure out your constitution. All she does is complain about
he's not
this
pulling
country.
punches.
Without this country, she would not be in very good shape. She probably wouldn't be alive right now. So Somalia is considered by many to be the worst country on earth. I don't know. I haven't been there. I won't be there anytime soon. I hope. But what Somalia, what the Somalian people have done to Minnesota is not even believable. It's not even believable. And a lot of it starts with the governor.
That happened under
a
his
lot
watch.
Of it starts with Barack Hussein Obama.
Okay, time out for a second, you guys.
And their wonderful friends are doing a fantastic job. And I see out in the audience the great one, Wayne Gretzky and Janet. Thank you very much, Wayne, for being here. He's used to this kind of weather. Let's also express our gratitude to the great people of the National Park Service. They're incredible, the job they've done, as well as the unbelievable performers here tonight. You're going to see some incredible performers. And we have in the audience the Beach Boys. They're great. During this holy season, Christians everywhere rejoice at the miracle in Bethlehem more than 2,000 years ago, when the Son of God, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, came down from heaven to be with us. You're right. Full of grace and truth, he brought the gift of God's love into the world and the promise of salvation for every person and every nation. And we just settled another war today. You saw that with Rwanda and the Congo. It's been going on for 34 years, millions of people killed. Could be 20 million. They don't know what the number is, and we just settled it today. That was a big one. We're very happy to announce it on this important day. Tonight, this beautiful evergreen tree glows bright on the dark and cold winter night and reminds us of the words of Gospel of John, in him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. Beautiful words. With the birth of Jesus, human history turned from night to day. His word and his example call us to love one another, to serve one another, and to honor the sacred truth that every child is specially made in the image of God. For 250 years, think of it, our country is 250 years, is a big year. I'm so happy that our presidency was delayed. Otherwise, I'd be sitting home watching television, not being invited. I would be extremely upset. And remember, we have not only the 250 years, but we have this.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get back to the short videos, you guys. Q came out with one.
Donald Trump, once again, has been proven 100% correct. I know he's receiving heat from both sides, from the left and from the right. And the problem is that the right wants us to be bound by the Constitution, which, don't get me wrong, I know the Constitution is the law of the land, but I also understand that there are certain actors that are expecting us to be bound by our own laws, and they are exploiting those laws, as you're going to come to find out. So everybody's been talking about these boats in the Caribbean that have been struck down by Donald Trump and by Pete Hegseth. We've been told that these boats are drug boats, that they are being used to smuggle drugs into the United States. Now, the interesting part about that is I talked about this at length last Sunday. We now have a high-ranking member in the Venezuelan government that has turned state's evidence. He is actually testifying on the behalf of Donald Trump. Now, this guy is Hugo Barrios. So he was a 3-star general in the Venezuelan military. He was head of the director of military intelligence. Now, he's actually gone on record and written a lengthy letter talking about how the Venezuelan government has looked to topple the United States government from within, using our own laws against us. They took advantage of the open border. He says that they sent more than 250,000 Venezuelans in. They sent those people into the country in order to work for Nicolas Maduro. They brought them into our country. Donald Trump said they're not sending their finest. They're sending some bad hombres. You remember that whole thing. And he was mocked by the left and the right for saying that. It turns out that this was all done on purpose. This was done by the Maduro administration in order to destabilize our country. These people were gang members. These people were part of the Tren de Aragua gang. They were smugglers. These people were sent here to continue to work at the behest of Nicolas Maduro. They were sending drugs on boats into the country. There was an entire network set up to distribute those drugs around the United States. That was the purpose of sending these thugs into our nation. They saw that the planes bringing people into the country from Venezuela, disguising many of these 250,000 people as being refugees when they were not refugees. In fact, they were operatives being brought into our country. This guy lays the entire plan out. But I think the most dangerous portion of it is not only were they bringing drugs in to make millions of dollars for the Venezuelan government, they were also coming into the country in order to make our people sicker, right? And bringing fentanyl and other types of dangerous drugs into our nation. But then he goes on to talk about, and I have to be careful how I say this because of the platform, but he goes on to talk about how he was personally involved in the machines and using these machines in various places around the United States in order to be involved in and also to affect the outcome of certain elections, not just in the United States, but several countries as well. He said that it was not only understandable of Trump to make the moves that he's made, but he went on to say it was necessary, that there is an active war being conducted covertly by the Venezuelans, and that this is the only way to get down to it. So once again, Trump was right, and the rest of them were wrong. Let me know what you guys think about.
Yeah, Lori, I got a lot of intel to get out, and some people can go watch it on YouTube. It's just the Christmas thing. Is no big announcement. It's normal speech.
Security numbers being used, 500,000 people receiving benefits more than twice. We had a couple of people receiving benefits in 6 states. In February of this year, we asked for all the states for the first time to turn over their data to the federal government to let the USDA partner with them to root out this fraud, to make sure that those who really need food stamps are getting them, but also to ensure that the American taxpayer is protected. 21 states said yes, not surprised. 29 states said yes, not surprisingly, the red states. And that's where all of that data, that fraud comes from. But 21 states, including California, New York, and Minnesota, blue states, continue to say no. So as of next week, we have begun and will begin to stop moving federal funds into those states until they comply and they tell us and allow us to partner with them to root out this fraud and to protect the American taxpayer. As Joe Biden was working to buy an election a year ago, he increased food stamp program funding by 40%. So now as we continue to roll that back.
That was big news. I got a 5-minute one. Oh, I can't play that one. Not letting me share on the screen. Three minutes.
Break-ins, carjackings, looting, stealing from places, which all makes the taxes go up, which makes the prices of products go up, and now makes the experience while you're out shopping very unpleasant because people now look at you. Now you go into stores, which, by the way, this is different in very white areas. If you go shopping in a very white town in Switzerland, they do not look at you. The clerks are just minding their own business. They're on their phone. They're talking to each other. It's like you didn't even walk into the store. And it's not rudeness. It's because they don't, at this point, before it's completely invaded and destroyed, they're not used to people coming in and stealing. You get accosted at the store, which ruins the experience. You get followed around. Hi, can I help you? Hi, welcome in. That's theft. That's blacks. Okay. I'm sorry. It's true. That's what it is. And it's ruined everything. Here we go on the propaganda side. This woman thinks that we should all apologize to Black people because of the atrocities that was committed upon them by none of us. Didn't happen to her. She never picked cotton. I've never been an overseer before, despite the fact that I would actually be a very good one. It never happened in her lifetime. Probably didn't even happen in her grandparents' lifetime. Okay, but take a listen to this. And this is just one of the contributing factors to why the entire planet has Black fatigue.
White people, I'm sorry. I need you to just make my day better, make me feel better. Get in my comments, apologize to me and the rest of us on behalf of your great-great-granddaddy, for having my great-great-grandma outside pregnant or not, picking cotton in this heat. Have y'all been outside? Just say sorry. I mean, white people, I'm sorry. White people.
And another thing, I love how they love to pick up on grievance. See, now I'm getting hot. I was wearing the coat because I was freezing, and now I'm getting hot. I love how they pretend like they're the only people that have ever suffered in the past. First of all, Black people in the present act like they are living in slavery time. The way that they talk about the oppression when it couldn't be anything but the opposite of that. Like they get special treatment, they get special scholarships, they have the red carpet laid out for them. They're overrepresented. Wow, I cannot talk today. They're overrepresented in ads, advertising, commercials, media, TV shows, Netflix shows. Good luck finding a show, by the way, even if it's from like the 1920s or the 17th century, a story about classical music or opera. Good luck finding any show or any movie or anything that does not include a Black person. They've been foisted in there forcefully, much like the forceful integration of Black people into white society that happened. Yes, basically, actually at gunpoint, forced integration at gunpoint. They act like they're the only ones that's ever suffered. They act like no one else.
I don't know if I played that one twice or not. Sorry if I did. I got a 2-minute one on I'm gonna play this one first. 4 minutes.
Xenophobic, Islamophobic, and we are gonna fight that. America has a history of fighting.
No. I think what he meant to say is that Somalians have a history of fighting, not Americans. And apparently now not wanting your tax dollars stolen counts as racism. Well, then there's their ringleader, Ilhan Omar, who was asked if she had started packing her bags yet.
Congresswoman, do you agree with President Trump's assumption that you married your brother to get citizenship? Have you begun packing your bags for Somalia yet, Congresswoman Omar?
Not going anywhere.
So you're not?
No, don't waste your energy on me.
Do you have a message for President
I
Trump?
will be here probably longer than Trump.
Oh, do you have a message for President Trump?
I am like a quarter of his age.
Do you have anything else you'd like to say to him?
Some old man losing his mind. I don't know why he's obsessed with me.
Interesting. Well, thank you, Congresswoman.
Yeah, I hope he gets help.
What she doesn't seem to grasp is that the spotlight isn't on her because of her identity. It's on her because of her behavior. When Ilhan Omar was first elected to Congress in 2019, she reported a negative net worth of about $45,000. You fast forward to May of this year, and she's now showing a net worth of up to $30 million. That's a 66,000% increase in just 6 years. Most Americans work their entire lives and never see numbers like that. So yeah, we do have questions. This is also the same lawmaker who trashes American sovereignty. She cheers open borders, wants to abolish ICE, and got booted off the Foreign Affairs Committee over anti-Semitic remarks. So no, Congresswoman, the scrutiny isn't random, it's earned. You hold power in the United States Congress, and the spotlight is on you because of what you do with it. And yes, demographics do matter. The Somali population in the Twin Cities has now exploded to over 80,000. That voting bloc helped put her in office, and she never misses a chance to run cover for her community.
If we were really being honest about what could be masqueraded as a national security issue, we know that no one from any of these countries has ever posed a threat within this country. And so we know that for him and his supporters, this is just a political football, and they're using our communities and people who look like me as leverage.
Never posed a threat, really? Then what do you call stealing hardworking Americans' tax dollars? Oh, right. I'm sure that's just economic stimulation for your community.
So I'm a handyman, and I worked on a lot of Section 8 housing to make sure they're up to standard. And one thing I've noticed when I go see Section 8 houses, one, it's usually a Somali family. What I mean, usually it's 9 times out of 10. And those houses usually have new cars in the front. I mean, cars with an S, multiple new cars. And what I mean usually is like 8 out of 10 Somali houses, I've seen that. And I always wondered how someone on Section 8 can afford multiple new cars. I just couldn't put it together.
He lives in Minneapolis, by the way. And congratulations, sir. You have just unlocked the mystery of the luxury driveaways. See, the math wasn't mathing until it was. And then President Trump, he weighed in pure Trump fashion.
Frankly, don't need their people coming into our country telling us what to do.
Are you talking about Dean?
I'm talking about like Somalia, where you have a congressman goes around telling everybody about our Constitution, and yet she supposedly came into our country by marrying her brother. Well, if that's true, she shouldn't be a congressman, and we should throw her the hell out of our country.
So while the president is trying to remove illegal immigrants from the country, St. Paul Mayor Melvin Carter, he says they'll be working with local police to help facilitate protests for Somalians because, according to him, illegal immigrants have rights in America.
Look to the organizations that serve immigrants and refugees across our community, because we have constant reminders out there about what your rights are. You have rights. That's an American thing. You have rights. We all have rights.
Okay, only one for her tonight. I got a couple of Michigan videos. You play this yet?
And the day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city.
These comments from the Muslim mayor of Dearborn, Michigan, to a resident at a city council meeting made news. The resident committed the offense of expressing concern over a street being named after Osama Siblani.
My concern is he's a promoter of Hezbollah and Hamas.
The best suggestion I have for you is to not drive on Warren Avenue or to close your eyes while you're doing it. Thank you. Also say that I'm an apostate, I'm going to hell based on the videos that you dropped. So if I were you, I sit silent. Okay.
So perhaps we shouldn't be too surprised that Dearborn has drawn the attention of people like this guy, who came in and dropped a grenade at the city council meeting.
You guys got to keep it down. Okay.
In 1900,
The world was 30% white. Fast forward 125 years, we are down to 7%. The Islamification of Europe is particularly aimed at the destruction of white people. The Islamification of America is aiming to meet the same goal. Our people, white Christian, European, Western civilization, we built the arts. We built the Colosseum.
Some people might
We
have
have ran the world into the industrial age. And now this people here, the Muslim community, is looking to drag us back. They're looking to oppress women, oppress homosexuals. They're looking to destroy everything that makes America great. President Trump, send ICE into Dearborn. These people have overstayed their visas. They're H-1B chain migration invaders, and they have come to this country to destroy our way of life. We know exactly your laws in your book about lying to our faces, pretending to be Americans, wearing your suits.
Has everybody seen
But
this
that
one?
doesn't happen anywhere else where you guys are in charge. There are 53 Muslim majority countries, and in all of them, it is tyranny, destruction. It is shithole living. We have to call it what it is. You guys don't live like we do. We don't want you in our country.
Yeah.
We will come and eat your
It's good to
shawarma
play it again,
in
though.
Somalia, okay? We don't need it here in Michigan. We don't need it in any part of America. We have a right to self-determination. Our founding fathers fought and died for our posterity, for white Americans, and we're being driven out. You come here and you marry 4 or 5 women and you outbreed us. You change the laws. You make all of our country look like the places that you fled from. We don't want you here. Respectfully, get the fuck out of my country. I don't want you here. We don't want you here.
That's fine.
I don't want you here. I don't want you here.
That's fine, sir. Just
This is our country. And
Chief,
the
can you send the
people,
guys out there?
the veterans, the World War II veterans, that's blood has soaked for our constitutional republic, are taking a look around Europe. They're taking a look around America, and they're saying, what the hell did we fight for? We have been taken
You
over
have 30
without
seconds.
a single shot fired. You guys are outbreeding insidious parasites on the American way of life. You will never look like us. You will never eat like us. You won't build buildings like us. You are nothing. You can build nothing. Just like President Trump's great American friends have said. You guys are not us, and get the fuck out. America first. America only. God bless America. Jesus is king. Jesus is king.
Thank you.
Jesus is king. Jesus is king.
Thank you.
Jesus is king. Jesus.
Yeah, I played that a while back, but some people, some of the new people might not have seen it. I got a minute one on a clip earlier. Night, Ann. See you tomorrow. Love ya.
Bad guys and stop focusing on other extraneous things not related to law enforcement. This is what happens. We had a great team. I know it's said a lot in this business. It was a team effort. It becomes cliche, but cliches
We
are
didn't hear
useful
him
for a reason
speak.
because they matter. And this was a team effort. The director and the attorney general emphasized that it was not a new public tip this came from. This was our internal work at the FBI. And I want to just really express my sincere gratitude to this attorney general and this president for allowing us the latitude. I spoke with Ms. Bondi very early when we, maybe day 2, and I said, we're going to get this guy. And she said, yes, you are. And we did. I want to also thank, he's not here, but Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who we deal with often as well, who could not have been more supportive. Whatever process we need, Judge Janine,
Good speech
Todd,
here.
and Attorney General Bondi, they were there. All you had to do, they were a phone call away. And their team was amazing. We actually never had to make that phone call because they were always responsive. Thank you, Judge, as well. You were amazing. Folks, you're not going to walk into our capital city, put down 2 explosive devices, and walk off in the sunset. Not going to happen. We were going to track this person to the end of the earth. There was no way he was getting away. Well, we didn't have to track him to the end of the earth. It wound up in Woodbridge, Virginia. I want to thank the team. They were amazing. They never let this go. Again, Attorney General Bondi, for your incredible support. Director Patel, Judge, I know they're giving me a lot of unnecessary credit, but make no mistake, they were intimately involved in this and were there for all of those supportive mechanisms. And I deeply appreciate it. The man whose team did the work is the Assistant Director in charge of our Washington field office, Darren Cox. Darren's got some comments, and Darren has some more details on the case he can provide. So thank you all for coming.
That was a good speech. I'm going to end it with the one lady on YouTube. She just came out with another lady that does intel.
Because, of course, they are despicable liars. And the liar of the day is the Washington Post. And this is a very important lie, by the way, that we're about to debunk, because this lie, as told by the Washington Post, underpins the entire color revolution that the left is trying to stage against President Trump. And it has been exposed as an utter falsehood. And this is the funny part. We're not the ones exposing it. This was not exposed by someone on the right or thanks to free speech on X. The entity that exposed the Washington Post as despicable propagandists for hateful resistance against President Trump, who you and I voted for as duly elected president, is the New York Times. That's right. The Washington Post and the New York Times are now at odds, and it is so beautiful. You just can't. I mean, please take a moment and revel in this with me. So the underpinning allegation of this color revolution attempt that the left is staging on President Trump is the allegation that he, as commander-in-chief of the United States military, because obviously he's the chief executive, the president of the United States, that also means he's the commander-in-chief of the military, that as commander-in-chief, he has been giving illegal orders. And that, I mean, we talked about the seditious six, Senator Mark Kelly and 5 other members of Congress who are warning active military service members to disobey orders from President Trump if they seem like they might be illegal, sowing mutiny in the ranks of our armed forces. Well, the underpinning allegation is that President Trump's Department of Defense gave orders to blow up narco-terrorist drug trafficking boats coming out of Venezuela, and that the order to blow up these boats was followed by a second order to kill the remaining survivors, and that second order was illegal. It violates the international laws of war. And so, to be very specific here, the Washington Post published an article several days ago in which they accused Secretary of War Pete Hegseth of giving the order for the second strike. Now, Pete Hegseth did give an order for the first strike. He said, destroy this boat from Venezuela, this narco-terrorist drug trafficking boat. But the Washington Post says that Pete Hegseth gave an order for a second strike, and that the purpose of the second strike on that same boat was to kill 2 survivors, 2 men that were clinging to the wreckage of that boat. And of course, everyone else in the mainstream media and on the left went absolutely wild. There are even some Republicans, shame on them, and you might want to take note of their names, because they believed this garbage from the Washington Post over asking, does the Washington Post have a track record of truth, or are they known propagandists? Even some Republicans, like Senator Rand Paul, listen, he might be a good guy, but he believed the Washington Post over asking Trump, giving Trump the benefit of the doubt. So this was the report from the Washington Post, and I'm going to read it to you exactly. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth gave a spoken directive, the Washington Post writes, according to 2 people with direct knowledge of the operation. The order was to kill everybody, one of them said. A missile screamed off the Trinidad coast, striking the vessel and igniting a blaze from bow to stern. For minutes, commanders watched the boat burning on a live drone feed. As the smoke cleared, they got a jolt. 2 survivors were clinging to the smoldering wreck. The Special Operations Commander overseeing the September 2 attack, the opening salvo in the Trump administration's war on suspected drug traffickers in the Western Hemisphere, ordered a second strike to comply with Hegseth's instructions. 2 people familiar with the matter said. The 2 men were blown apart in the water. Now, fast forward again. We don't have to be the ones to debunk the Washington Post's propagandizing and lying. The New York Times has done it. Can you even imagine what it must be like inside the Washington Post newsroom right now, understanding that the New York Times is debunking you? This is what the New York Times writes today. However, the New York Times, according to 5 U.S. officials who spoke separately to the New York Times and on the condition of anonymity to discuss a sensitive matter that is under investigation, Mr. Hegseth, ahead of the September 2nd attack, ordered a strike that would kill the people on the boat and destroy the vessel and its purported cargo of drugs. But each official said Mr. Hegseth's directive did not specifically address what should happen if a first missile turned out not to fully accomplish all of those things. And the officials said his order was not a response to surveillance footage showing that at least 2 people on the boat survived the first blast. Admiral Bradley ordered the initial missile strike and then several follow-up strikes that killed the initial survivors and sank the disabled boat. As the operation unfolded, they said Mr. Hegseth did not give any further orders to him, end quote. So the original allegation from the Washington Post that Hegseth gave a direction personally to not just conduct a first strike, but a second strike in order to kill those wounded survivors, that it's just not true. It's a lie. The New York Times said actually Mr. Hegseth didn't give any order for a second strike. And the reason the second strike occurred was because the boat had not been thoroughly destroyed, which was part of the initial stated goal of the mission of the strike to begin with. So Washington Post wins liar of the day. They are just such propagandists. And the reason why is because the left, the resistance to President Trump cannot.
This holiday season, give yourself the gift of Tim Hortons with delightful holiday drinks and festive baked goods.
Tolerate the fact that neocons are no longer in charge of the Department of Defense, that these deep state swamp creatures, which, by the way, they still had embedded in the Department of Defense under the first Trump administration, are no longer the ones in charge. And when President Trump is beginning to engage with Venezuela and narco terrorists around the world, the neocons are panicking. Do you think that the color revolution that is quite obviously being staged, we've been talking about this on the show all week this week and part of last week, do you think the color revolution from the seditious 6, Senator Mark Kelly and these, Senator Slotkin and these other members of Congress with an intel background, I mean, you were an intel analyst at the Department of Defense, now the Department of War, are these people, these senators and members of Congress, are they in the know more than we are about what's really going on between Trump and Venezuela? And is that why they are trying to sabotage Trump? Or are they just using this confusion and kind of the lack of communication between the Trump administration and us? We don't know. It's kind of vague what's going on. Or are they just using that to try to take out Trump?
I think they're using it to try to take out Trump. I think they're just looking for their next big impeachment, rallying cry. This is, as you masterfully pointed out earlier, was just completely nullified via the New York Times, which I never would have thought I would hear that ever. But I think they're looking for anything at this point. But I also think that they are so pissed off that within the Department of War, within the military, they do not have the people that they used to have handpicked in certain areas. They don't have a General Milley there that is willing to go against the president's orders. They lost the election. President Trump was there, but they had Mark Milley, right? And Mark Milley was willing to make calls to China, to his counterpart, behind his president's back. They don't have a guy like that. And by the way, where were they? Where were all these senators and people just shouting from the rooftops? Where were you when that was happening?
Actually, Senator Mark Kelly, by the way, defended General Milley when General Milley called China.
Of course.
He literally is on record defending Milley for saying, China, I'll tip you off if our president's going to attack you.
Oh my gosh, of course. But I mean, it goes way beyond Milley. I mean, they had like Lloyd Austin was the ultimate Obama yes man. The guy that stood the military down to look for those crazy white supremacists, and our Christian nationalists within the military. Are you kidding me? That turned the entire military into a political joke, doing all these like stupid, DEI and pride commercials on their official social media accounts. They don't have those guys anymore, and it scares the crap out of them. So I would assume, these color revolutionists, these deep statists are going to continue to let certain things leak, like the Washington Post thing, to make things look a whole lot worse than they are, because they know how it works, Liz. They put out these lies. Everyone believes them. All their half the country, they're all going to believe this. They're not going to believe the New York Times rebuttal. They're not even gonna. They probably didn't even read it. They don't care. They're just going to say, "Oh, he's trying to kill people. Hegseth ordered it. Done deal." That's all. They know this, and this is going to continue.
You know what's funny? I was saying this to my producer Spencer yesterday. When the Trump administration took office, I thought that the cabinet member of Trump's who would take the most heat would be RFK. I thought there'd just be this constant barrage of efforts to smear him and ruin his credibility and try to sow.
Okay, who do we got here? Dancing Queen. Yep. I've been on. I never quit. I had a lot of other new mods and everything, and I have a lot of channels, and got the backup channel back about 3 weeks ago when Trump winning the lawsuit. And we're getting a lot of new people in, and the old names are back. And I'm trying to remember you, so it's hard to remember all the names. But my normal time is 5 o'clock. This is the last one for tonight.
Divide between him and Trump, and try to castigate his characters in the eyes of the American people so that Maha moms didn't like him. Like, I thought he would just sustain it as HHS secretary. And I'm not to say that he hasn't, but it has been fascinating to me, Jason, to see that the person in the Trump administration that the left reviles the most, like this deep-seated, visceral loathing, is actually Pete Hegseth.
I know. I can't really. I don't really know why, unless unless he just that just seems like the lowest hanging fruit for them, because he had no experience before besides military. He did, but not. I don't want. Let me take that back. He had experience, but he didn't have the the usual experience that a Secretary of Defense or War would have. Didn't go through that same
like the
pipeline.
political experience.
The political, and then also, I mean, the moment he had that, did you watch that when he recalled all the generals and admirals in? Did you watch that?
I did. When he called them fat, everyone was like, "This is not professional," and I was like, "This is hilarious."
It was awesome. I know, it was so awesome. And he was like, the end, that stuff. He was talking about DEI, addressing. He's like, that S is done. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh. And the cool thing about it is everyone in that room was probably like, finally. But to everybody else, they were like, oh my gosh. Now the politics is just deleting from all of our efforts. And we were trying to, fit this into the military. I think the military was like one of the last straws that they were just trying to push it in. They've hit every other single agency, from, obviously the EPA to the justice system to everything. The military was their crown jewel. Now all that's going away. So who do they punish? Let's go after Hegseth.
Right. Well, I think too that like in areas where the divide is usually like left versus right or woke versus anti-woke, they've had this coalition the Swamp Creatures have in Washington, D.C., like the true Uniparty. Their support coalesces around being neocons, right?
Yeah.
Like all Uniparty members are neocons, whether you're on the left, whether you're on the right, like whether you're just a warmonger, whether you're Hillary Clinton or whether you're Lindsey Graham. Like the Uniparty wants war. And not only is President Trump against it, like if they lost the Pentagon, they lost the Department of War, then I think they're just panicking. And like I said, for us normies outside of the Beltway, I think it might seem funny, like, oh, I thought you would have hated RFK more than Hegseth, but they care most about Swamp Creatures. Party cares most about the money, and that's where the money is. The money is in Forever Wars.
Absolutely, that's where it's at. Yeah, I mean, we did I can't remember what the actual number was, but we were thinking we tallied up the amount of anti-tank missiles and other munitions that the Biden administration was sending to Ukraine, and per missile, it was like, I can't remember, it was like $1.3 million per missile or something like that. And they were talking about how many times they order a batch of like 200. And it was just going nonstop. It must, I mean, to people that are getting paid or lobbied by some of these defense contractors, people like all the neocons, all the people in the Senate and Congress, people that are getting tons and tons of money from them. It's a huge, huge business. It's so crazy. Like, it's like clockwork, Liz. You end a war in Afghanistan, 20 years of war. You would think they'd be like, well, we're not doing that crap again. It was just like lay low for a while. Nope, let's go to Ukraine. Immediately they'll go to somewhere else. They don't care. They'll just go. I
think that perspective is the perspective of like you and me, the American people who saw this, people who served in the military or who had family and friends in the military. I think the perspective of the war hawks is as soon as the war in Afghanistan concluded after 20 years. They just like opened their chest and saw all their gold coins and were like, we got to do this again. We need more. We need more.
Absolutely.
Okay, that was a good one to end the show with. She was good. All right. So, I'm so tired out. Hopefully it'll be only one show tomorrow. Stick it to 5 o'clock. Hopefully there won't be, I don't know if there'll be any other breaking news. I can save it till 5 o'clock. Thanks, Kay. Yeah, Chico. He's a monster. He's all right. Ariella, Kay's bird, they talk to each other every day. Okay, the new time, like I said, between 5 and 6. And thanks, Kay, Michelle. Glad you're better. So until tomorrow night, unless something develops, I'll be on. God bless everybody. Uh-oh, where's my sign? Oh, there it is. Please hit the like and sub to the backup channel and shoot. Where'd you go? You go. There he is. Stay safe, stay strong, keep the faith, and never give up. We're all in this to the finish line. Till the finish line, whatever that's going to end. But since I got the news, since I'm the news now, I guess it's going to be forever. So, signing off, Chico and Joe. See you all tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday already. Thanks, Dancing Wayne. Yep. He's a handful. But, got Chico right here, or dude right there with me still. All right, signing off, Chico, dude. Till tomorrow.